Okay, it's another Thursday, and you know how we know it's fall is Cassandra is talking about walnutting.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll be cracking into that. If you're here to
All puns
draw,
included.
yeah, if you're here to draw with us, we're gonna be drawing the labyrinth. We're gonna get started in a minute or so. We usually like to let the room fill up, but yeah, we got another Thursday night of drawing. I heard a rumor Bill Cobb will be joining us later. I'm sure we'll have a couple more artists pop in the room. But yeah, we were just talking walnut. So are those walnuts from your backyard, Cassandra, that you're making the ink with, or
The walnuts are from a friend's yard, so I have walnut ink from there. But I made acorn ink yesterday, and that's from my backyard. My daughters and I collected it, and so
oh, acorn ink? Is the process the same?
it's similar. But I added a little bit of iron to it, and that darkens it.
Iron. Cool.
Hmm. You can either like take like rusty nails and put them in vinegar and let them sit for a couple months and then add that to the acorn stew you're basically making, or you can just get a little powdered iron, which I did. And
I just pretended like I knew how you would add iron to
I wouldn't know otherwise. I researched it. It's called a rusty garden when you
Oh, I
make
was
a
like, oh
tincture
yeah,
of that.
you just sprinkled some iron on it, and then
Just
yeah,
magically. I just have it
yeah,
lying around casually.
yeah. Orderiron.com, ironbythepound.com. Yeah.
I
Um,
found it on Amazon. I'm not kidding.
oh,
And then
there
I
you
was like,
go.
I'm gonna try it.
That does seem like something you would get flagged for. Powdered iron. Um,
Yeah, that
I'm
and
gonna
some gum
go,
Arabic.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. All right.
Welcome to Drawing Hive.
Slowly happening.
There it is.
Here we
All
go.
right, everybody. Cassandra,
Feels like eternity.
I was just going to let you know, Cassandra, I went to the art supply store today.
What'd you get?
Well, that's how I make my materials.
Well, it's certainly the easier way, you
I
know.
yeah, I've never made but I use walnut ink every once or walnut oil.
Oil,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good stuff.
Um, it's good stuff. All right. Hey everybody, welcome. We're gonna do 3 drawings tonight, or 4 drawings, or 2 drawings, or 1 drawing, however many you want to do, but we're gonna have 4 pieces of reference. The first 2 poses are 20-minute poses, and tonight we are drawing the movie Labyrinth. And visually really interesting. Great costuming. Big David Bowie fan, big Jim Henson fan. So I've looked for the longest time. Well, I'll talk about it later, but I have a photo of my father and Miss Piggy. He was,
Aw.
yeah, Jim Henson visited Hallmark, and my dad happened to be there, and
Oh
they,
my
they
gosh.
did a whole series of shots with my father and Miss Piggy.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So first up, David Bowie. Great shot, beautiful
Great
lighting.
eyebrows, great hair.
Yeah, David Bowie. Yeah, come on. David always looked good.
Hmm.
Jennifer Connelly, and I'm not kidding you, it was almost impossible to find a photograph with her mouth closed. So this is as close as I could get that had decent lighting. She
That's
always
funny.
had her mouth open.
What
Uh,
a random problem. I would never know unless having
Those
to find
are
reference.
are those buck teeth?
that she has very big buck teeth.
Yeah, I don't
And
know
yet
the
she's stunningly beautiful.
She
yeah, I was trying to think of like the polite term.
Prominent. Prominent.
prominent.
Okay.
Prominent frontal porcelains. Let's put it.
Some
But,
standout teeth.
beautiful. That's an absolute, and this is a killer pose. I mean, I love this shot. I love the way it lays out. I love the value structure of this. See, her mouth's open.
Great.
And so this is Hoggle.
Hoggle.
What a great caricature. It reminds me of like a Maxwell Parrish.
Totally.
Totally does. But beautiful shot, really fun. So this this will be our third pose. So it's a 40-minute pose. So you can either do both of these figures, one of these figures, or you could do Toby here.
Toby.
It's a great shot. Somebody's gonna have a lot
That'd
of.
be the first baby that we've ever drawn.
I know. I thought about that. We've never really
Yeah,
done.
we did a toddler, one before, but I don't think we've ever done a baby.
Yeah. So
First one.
yeah, hopefully we won't have any problems. But somebody's going to have a lot of fun playing with those stripes.
Oh, stripes are amazing.
Let's see what Peter Castle and that crowd does with those
Did you
stripes.
see Victor? Victor couldn't make it tonight. He always comes, and he posted on Facebook, and he did this one, and it's amazing.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it is.
Okay, you want to stop the share, John? Are we
I'm
good?
just going to say it's time to draw.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
Perfect. All right, everybody. So I just if you want, if this is your first time joining, you're not part of our Discord server, I just dropped a link to join the server. And then I'm also going to drop a link to the photo reference in case you don't know where that is. You should always check your email. It's always in the email, but it's right there in the chat as well. And we are going to be sharing our work tonight on Instagram. We're going to come up with a special, it's kind of been fun having people on Discord come up with a fun little hashtag. So if somebody can come up with a fun custom hashtag that is related to the Labyrinth tonight, let's do it. I was shocked at how the word labyrinth is spelled.
I can never remember how to spell it right.
I'm going to go ahead and say, let's come up with a hashtag that doesn't involve
But Bowie Hive.
Bowie Hive. Hey, you know what? If Bowie Hive is available, let's do it. Yeah.
I'll be
John,
surprised if it is.
yeah. John, you've been working for a minute on that?
I started, I'm probably 20 minutes in. I just blocked it in. And I'm getting to,
Good block in.
well, it's a big drawing. I mean, it's full, it's 28 inches tall. So it's a big drawing, but I wanted to get it to the point because that I could just start mashing it all together. And I kind of, it's like an underpainting.
Okay, everybody. So Bowie Hive is available. Somebody suggested Labry Hive, but then they misspelled lab. It's so weird how it's spelled. The Y before the R.
I know. I'm already a bad speller, and that's just one of those words that always get me.
Yeah. So how long did can you walk us through the acorn? I'm just curious about your acorn.
My acorn ink.
Yeah.
So I like geek out over the experiments I was showing them earlier. So this is my test page of making it. So I collected a bunch of old acorns from my backyard. My daughters did, and the neighbor's girl. We just picked them up out of the ground. And then you mash them, and we just use like a meat tenderizer in a bag. And then we put it in a bucket and cover it with water. And then I let it set overnight outside. And then I just checked, and this is what it looked like after I did that. And then I put it in a pot, and I added like a teaspoon of powder iron that you can find on Amazon. I could have made like it's called a rusty garden, where you soak rusty nails or rusty iron bits in iron for months, but I didn't do that. So I just added the iron. And this is what it looked like after an hour of a boil. This is an hour and a half. This is 2 hours. This is after I drained it through a t-shirt and took all the actual nuts out. And then this is when I reduced it for a second boil in 15 minutes. And then I added a little vinegar just so it'll last. So I'm gonna add some gum arabic, but I haven't added that yet. But that's how I kind of got to where it is. But it's nice because it lets me work really light, and then I still have my walnut ink actually from 2 years ago, and that's really thick. So I was playing with it earlier today just to see how it works, and they all work really well together. So, and this is a rare bird, a Wayne's black-throated green warbler. So I was just playing with seeing how it all works together before I did more. But yeah.
Well, Cassandra, I was with you until you took the easy out and didn't put the nails, wait until 3 months.
If you
So,
know, I genuinely am
It's
gonna
really, it's
collect
really
them.
not pure. I would never use it because it's not pure enough for me.
I'm not gonna lie, I am gonna look for some nails and add them to vinegar if I find them, so that I'm ready for the next time
Of
that I
course.
want to try. I did try pine needle ink, and it was a complete fail. Just so you know, this doesn't always work. It like I got nothing from pine needles, so you can just see that nothing is what I wrote in my notes. So that was a failed experiment.
It just kills me you go through all that.
I know. It's a lot of time when I could spend $7 on a bottle of ink, but it's fun to figure out.
I wonder how your kids are going to look back at that. And
They're probably gonna laugh at their mom that had them dig, and it was even raining a bit, and I was like, who cares? Yeah, let's put on boots and just dig in the mud.
I could hear the conversation now. No, seriously, mom was nuts. She was just crazy. I mean, she was having us collect walnuts and acorns and
Yeah. Do you know what a house smells like when you boil acorns?
yeah.
Let me tell you.
Wait, what does it smell like?
I didn't mind it. My husband, E-Man, was just like, not my favorite smell.
I guess
I
it
don't
just smells like acorns, like wet acorns.
Yeah, I don't know. It, it's hard to describe. It smells kind of like maybe floor cleaner, like wood floor cleaner.
Pine Sol, that type of thing.
Yeah, a little bit. But I
So
call it oak salt.
acorns are like the bane of our existence right now. Just the amount of acorns I have in my yard are just unbelievable. And
John, you could make so much ink.
I'm sure I could. I have 4 really large oak trees on my property, and they're just constantly the picking up of acorns, because you can't, I mean, if you leave them there, I mean, you got hundreds of little oak trees growing in your yard.
Don't you have some good squirrels? Aren't they gonna pick them up and take them everywhere?
Well, that's the other bane of my existence is squirrels. I can't see any squirrels. You would think I'd be okay with the squirrels, but they get to you after a while. They eat your house, they eat everything, all your flowers, your plants, and they're difficult.
We had a funny situation where we had some chicken wings, and my husband put the trash outside and hadn't put it in the trash can yet. And then Maven and Verity were like, the squirrel's eating chicken wings. And we're like, what? And they're like, they're eating chicken wings. And I was sitting on the fence was the squirrel gnawing on like a chicken wing bone. It was the most random sight ever.
I didn't know they would do that.
I didn't know they would be interested in chicken wings.
All right.
Well, regarding some of the updates, John, we didn't like talk about whether or not we were going to bring this up tonight, but I think we should. But stop me now if you think no, but
I think I know where you're going, but
so I don't know. This is definitely art news, but I don't want to lead in with the sound effect because it's not very funny art news. If for those of you who are like plugged into higher ed or pay attention to what's going on in that world, the art institutes, which have been around for a very long time, kind of a conglomerate of organizations. They had locations in many cities. They were, I'm going to be careful with like how I say it. They were known for like a lot of alleged things that were predatory, allegedly. and allegedly took advantage of a lot of people and allegedly mistreated artists. Personally, I think we've all met artists that would agree strongly with that. But this, like, it was past Friday, they basically in mid-semester shut down the school. So John, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like 1,700 students are left totally adrift. Mid-education, many of them have spent money on their education, and just not they got an email and it was just like school's closed, and the art institutes pretty much abandoned this like massive group of people. So if you've attended Drawing High for a while, you've heard John and I talk about our frustrations, not with all higher ed, but a lot of higher ed institutions that fall into this category of what I would call predatory, and really not concerned with the best interest of the artist or the student or frankly the educator. And we were kind of like, it's like one of those things where you hear the news and you're like, well, the writing's been on the wall forever, but it's still very sad because there are people that are deeply affected by this. They're young people that really thought they were making the right choice and they fell into a trap. And so we really feel for you. And John was like, what do you think there's anything we could do? And so we kind of put our heads together. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think that people might be able to help. We have 2 posts on social, and what we're offering is if you are currently enrolled at any of the art institutes during the shutdown, you can reach out to us. You fill out a form on our site, and you'll gain free access to all of our guest speaker events this from the past summer and then this fall as well. The biggest hurdle is getting this in front of the people that need to see it, because I think it's a tremendous, while it's small compared to the gravity of the situation these people are in, it's a good resource. And it's also a community that I think a lot of people, a lot of these people are probably stuck in a limbo between where they were and where their art education is going to go next. So we want to welcome these people into our community. It's hard to get it in front of them, so we're doing what we can. If you want to help, go to our page, find that post. It says this is not how you treat artists, and share it. If you know an artist that attended the art institutes, please share it with them. Tag them in it. Do something. We know it's small, but we just, I don't know. We want to do what we can, and that's what we can. So
That's great.
that's the end of
Any
my
little thing,
my
because
ramble.
that's so stressful.
It is really stressful. Yeah, it's stressful. It's frustrating. It makes one angry.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah.
And
And I'm
I-
being
I don't know.
I'm being extremely censorious with how I say it.
Yeah.
I'm really censoring myself intensely because I want to be, I don't know.
Well, it was one thing for a long time that a lot of people knew it wasn't the best of the art schools, art education that was coming through there. I've had a lot of, guest speakers. I've had artists that I've met that just did not have good experiences with that, with those programs. But no matter what, how they ended it was just freaking awful. I mean, it's just leave people in limbo and right in the middle of the semester. I just find that very frustrating. And we're all about community, and hopefully maybe a few of them will wander over here and they'll figure out, hey, there's a bunch of serious artists involved in this community. It might be a place that they could get some benefit from.
Yeah, or I mean, just at least learn while they're figuring out what's next.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to lead with the harsh, cold news of the day, but I did.
And
Um,
you really did set a tone for tonight. It's like, oh,
well, I mean, I don't know.
no, it was
You
good.
want to be helpful. I mean, people, you should share it.
No,
And
absolutely.
it's not a posturing like look at me, share this thing. It's like legit. Like if you know somebody, you should send it to them because it's free. There's not a catch. Um, I'll
Yeah.
I'll be
All the
on
guest
it,
speakers are
everybody.
so amazing and are inspiring to hear them talk. So to have an
Yeah.
opportunity just to listen to some amazing artists, I think is a wonderful, thoughtful idea.
Tammy, take a minute or two and just read through the guest speakers for next semester.
Oh, well, yeah, I want to start with, well, I mean,
Start with Terrell.
yeah, Terrell Whitlatch is heavy hitter. Just, I mean, a major player in the Star Wars franchise, creator of Jar Jar Binks, which is just, I mean, iconic. And Terrell has been involved in movie making, in storytelling for such a long time. It's really incredible. And it's exciting because this is her second time back. So I'm sure she's going to be coming with some fresh stuff for
Tammy,
our,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I did the interview with her.
yeah.
And she told this unbelievable story of being just hired at ILM and having to go. Her superior was Ian McCaig, who is like rock star concept artist, just illustrator, phenomenal talent. And Ian wasn't much older than her, but she had to go to a meeting. One of her first meetings there was her and Ian, and then they met with this third guy named George Lucas. And so that was like one of the first meetings she had at ILM. That just blows me away.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Because that would have been in the late 90s, right?
No, it was earlier than that. It was probably early 90s.
Okay, yeah. But that being said, she's gone on to work on like, I mean, everything. One of the most iconic designers when it comes to creatures. And it's actually really cool to look at her work because so much of it is creature design of kind of like mythical or sci-fi creatures, but it's all based on like her profound knowledge of like true animal anatomy.
Yeah, I mean that's what she does. Like as a part of her presentation, she draws.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. That'll be a live presentation, meaning students get to ask questions. They get, it's very interactive. So you don't want to miss that one. That's a big one. Julie Beck, which incredible fine artist and painter, gallery artist. If you want to see a brief talk with Julie, Ray Bonilla interviewed her. It's on our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
I'm excited to have Julie back. This will be her first time presenting as a visiting mentor, talking with students and sharing her craft, which is exciting. And then we've got Luca Nimolato, my favorite Italian artist that we work with. Actually, we got Renato Mucillo, so it's a tie. Luca is an amazing concept designer, though. Really incredible. He's worked on Westworld. He's involved with my gosh, I can't even keep track of it. Oh man, what was I thinking of? Big involvement in the Star Wars franchise, like all the TV shows, Disney, Warner Brothers, like pretty much everything. And then Brian, this is like a heavy hitter semester for Star Wars fans, by the way. Brian Matias is also coming, and he worked on the Book of Boba Fett. He worked on the Mandalorian. He's becoming a big name in the Star Wars universe, I would say. Keith Knight, a return guest, a killer return guest. I love Keith.
Oh, great. I heard him talk and I loved it.
Keith is a cartoonist, which is like an interesting guest to have at our school. But he's a cartoonist that is I loved his presentation on storytelling. It's so cool. He shares a lot about his background, and he's just an amazing person. And if you think you're familiar with him, it's because his his story, so his life work and his personal story, was used to make the Hulu series Woke. And then last but not least, this is exciting. This is a very exciting one. We've got Eric Skillman. Eric is the art director for the Criterion Collection. So that one is a big one. That one is really exciting. He wasn't available on a Saturday. He said, I got to do it on Monday. And that was a no brainer. We're like, whenever you want to do it, we'll do it. So we're really pumped for that one. So Eric Skillman. And then also we got like a visiting gallery. Modern Eden Gallery is coming as well. So like the reason I want to go through all these things is because like our program, like our school consists of multiple programs, but we kind of have these like town hall events where it's really healthy to have this cross pollination where you're learning from people that are from all over, that do all these different things, and a lot of them you learn started in one place and ended up where they are, and it's the only way that happens is by like that cross pollination and that networking and that learning about things you might not have thought you were interested in or that you might not have even thought about.
Well, it's always been since my dad and I started the Illustration Academy. It was always bring as many professional artists as you can, so students can see opportunity. They can see, oh wow, that's how you do that. That's how you approach that part of the industry, and it makes it brings reality to it. And I think the more you do that with education, it gives people the idea of the potential and the opportunities that they have.
Yeah. So if that appeals to you, if you're thinking about illustration, fine art, or character design, which there are so many ways you can go professionally with that once you dive into any of those directions. Our mentorship set you up with everything you need to make that a reality. And just so you know, this fall, that lineup is this fall. All our classes are interactive. It's special. It's a mentorship. They start next week, so you only have 8 days to sign up. So the final day is October 6th to sign up. So don't sleep on it. I love the guest speakers. We've gotten to meet some pretty cool people because of that feature. I'm actually blown away by how many new people the program has met because of the guest speakers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they're also generous with their information too, which is
Crazy generous.
such a joy that they're extremely successful and they don't hide away their process or their story, and they're just so open. And I just think that is just special.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about this. I was like, man, that would maybe be the most difficult thing about leaving Visual Arts Passage is like your first interaction with like a big artist and learning maybe that they're not all that nice. Like realizing that like not all of the greats are like, let me set aside a couple hours to talk with you.
Right.
It's rare. It's hard. It's a combination. It's a combination of great teachers, passionate people, and talent. Like, I mean, also, by the way, I want to say, Bill, we got Bill Cobb in the house.
Hey, Bill.
Good to have you.
Thanks.
Speaking of talent, hey, Bill.
Hey, thank you.
Bill. You know what? I was thinking this morning about David Bowie. He's, I think, the only celebrity that kind of has his own emoji.
He has an emoji. I don't think I even realized that.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's like the emoji with like the Ziggy Stardust makeup on.
Somebody did a really nice set of drawings, very iconic drawings of all the different iterations of David Bowie.
Really?
Yeah, a few years back. I don't remember who did it, but it was very cool. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they animated it too, so that you could see, like, cycle through all the drawings. But
Yeah, I just shared it to Discord. It's got a microphone in it and everything. He did. He got his own emoji. I
That's
think.
funny.
Well, that's cool.
I don't know if yeah. That's how iconic he is.
Well, he's deserving.
There's
Yeah.
not a Taylor. I was just gonna say this. There's not a Taylor Swift emoji. There might.
There may yet. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
It'll probably happen next week, and then you'll get like a gazillion texts, and you'll be like, I know, okay.
Yeah. That would I would feel cool if I was the first person if I'd called the Taylor Swift emoji. Yeah.
Hmm.
Bill, so we were talking, Cassandra's got a house full of walnut ink right now.
And acorn.
And acorn ink. What materials are you using tonight?
I'm just right now. I'm just using a Cretacolor pastel pencil. And just wanted to get the shape. I'm running out of paper. You know, I went through all my Stonehenge paper. Gone through all my toned paper, and I'm using like an old piece of mat board. So
Well, Bill, if you were Cassandra and you were running out of paper, you would just make some more.
I know, really, I know, and I just use cardboard, but I'm not as talented as Cassandra.
Oh, everybody's capable.
Yes, I know.
On that note, I totally did. The buzzer went off while I was talking a second ago. So we are going to move on to the second pose. You don't have to. You can always. Some people, some of the diehards only do one, but move on to the second one. And please post your work to Instagram using hashtag Bowie Hive, BOWIEHIVE, Bowie Hive, and also use hashtag Drawing Hive and @Visual Arts Passage, because I still like to share the Drawing Hive hashtag with people so they can see all the work. And one of the biggest reasons you should do it is because when I reach out to people for images or stuff like that, that's where I send them. I say, check it out. And so I want them to believe it.
Oh, I'm going to send a message, Timmy, to one of I had a review yesterday with Jeff Brain, who
Oh, awesome. I love his stuff.
It was great. It was great. And I couldn't think of an artist that I was trying to. Dale wasn't here or to help me out. And so I was having an age thing happening, and I couldn't think of an artist's name. And I'm going to send a message to Gary. It's excuse me, to Jeff, that it's
Uh-oh.
oh no, Susan, I couldn't think of it. Gary Davis. You know who I'm talking about?
Gary did.
Gary Davis. You know who I'm talking about, Bill? Does all the baseball stuff, does a bunch of baseball stuff.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll look him up.
It happens, guys. I'm sorry.
That build up.
Followed through.
Well,
Be patient. I'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those moments too. And then don't you find that you have like those moments of brilliance where you can just remember everything about something, and then you have some.
Yeah, but it's never when you want it. It's like you'll remember it at like 2 a.m. and it'll be like, oh, it's blah 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 blah, and there's no one there to
No, that's true, but like you find yourself talking about something, and you realize you make a really astute observation, and then the next day you can't remember it at all. Like I was talking to somebody about the movie It's Complicated, and how there's a shift in the characters, in Meryl, I don't know if you've seen it, but Meryl Streep and Steve Martin, there's a shift in their interaction where she starts to like him, and it's because he makes a character change. And I made this really great observation, but I'm sure that like tomorrow I'm not gonna remember what thing I said, and I don't know if that happens to you when you're teaching. You say something and somebody comes back to you and goes, oh, that point you made about such and such, that was just wonderful and brilliant, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about with like in the arts. I feel like honestly there are picture books that I don't even know what they were, but I think I can still remember the art from them from when I was like a kid. Like it's like burned into my mind. Or like there's video game art that I remember. Um, but then there's a movie I saw last week and I completely forgot the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't make it into the core memory.
Yeah. Ever watched a movie and then you realize you've seen it before? But
No, my wife does that. I can't do that. That doesn't happen to me.
I'm like, I've gone.
Yeah.
It happens to my dad so much, and I'll be like, Dad, I even saw that in the movie theater with you. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, we did? No, this is a great movie. I bet I know what's going to happen. I was like, it's because we saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched
Cool memories.
rewatched Birds of Prey the other day, and I got like a third of the way into it, and I realized I've seen this before.
That's funny. I read a thing about memory and like as you get older, your sharpest memories are often between the ages of like 14 and like 30.
Hmm.
Like, if you live to be like 90, your sharpest memories will be between that window.
Huh.
And the only explanation that they could provide for like why that would be was that those are like the biggest chapters of one's life, like often.
Oh, that makes sense.
So like when you turn 16, you first start driving a car. It's when you first find like maybe like romance or you know, kind of fall head over heels for somebody. And then you kind of move through all these different chapters. It's when academic achievements and choosing your path in life happen. And
I'm laughing because I'm thinking, I'll tell my wife, I'm only going to remember a small amount of you because I towards the end.
well, they say that like having kids is part of it. Like, so if you have kids later, that can often be, that often maintains it. And there's a really sweet story about a woman talking with her mom about trying to create new memories with her elderly mom. It was really beautiful because a lot of it had to do with like heightened emotion. So like the more your emotion is heightened, oftentimes, and this is all the brain is so complicated, but they believed, the higher your emotion was in a moment, the more likely you are to have a memory of it of some type.
Hmm.
And so it was this woman trying to create a very emotional, sweet moment with her mom.
Oh,
And it was really, yeah, it was a tearjerker. It was very sweet.
so sweet.
So I'll try to dig it up. I think it was a This American Life or the
Oh,
mom.
that sounds like a This American Life.
It was
I
very special.
think it's interesting too that like, oh, that looks nice, Cassandra. That's wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
I think it's interesting too that when you tell stories about things that have happened to you, there are times when you tell that story and you've misremembered something.
Yeah.
The telling of the story alters the memory of the event.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
And so then you realize that, wait, that may or may not have happened. And so what is actually your personal history,
Yeah.
which makes up a big part of how identity, I think, is made, is false in some
Yeah,
ways.
I have a memory. I have a memory of when I was a kid, Bill.
Yeah.
That I went on a trip with my whole family. And what happened is I just went on it with my dad.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a big part of our lives and what makes up our identity that is based on fiction. And I think that's I find that really interesting.
It's really interesting.
So like you remember that it was your whole family, but it wasn't, it was just you guys.
It's just me and my dad. Yeah.
But that's kind of nice so that you included everybody else,
Yeah. I guess unless you're my dad and you're like, no, man, I was just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
I mean, I can
right.
remember
You know what? You're right, Bill. I was being thoughtful.
you were being what? You were,
I was
yeah,
being thoughtful.
Yeah.
yeah. You were being thoughtful, yeah. Um, I mean, I remember parts of camping trips that we went on as a family
Yeah.
and certain events that happened and certain images, but I could not tell you which event happened on which trip or exactly what year it was. Um, and
Yeah,
then
I'm
there's,
like you. I can't do that either.
yeah, and then there's other things that I can remember very clearly, and but like somebody will say, "Oh yeah, we had this conversation about this thing during this time," and I'm like, they all kind of just blend together.
Okay.
Um,
For artists who have careers doing what they love and things like that, do you just when I think of memory, I think of time passing, and then being in the moment. Do you all ever focus on that of being present or try to focus on being in the moment or like appreciating
oh yeah,
a nice moment in your career, like one maybe like an achievement in your career or
oh
like yeah,
yeah, and then
it's hard.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I try to cultivate appreciating the good stuff that's going on now,
Yeah,
even when things aren't great in one area. I try to
yeah.
focus on that stuff. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day about my experience doing the artwork for the Crow City of Angels, and
Yeah.
that was a very positive. That was a high point, and um, I've got yeah. I mean, I can remember those things and focus on those things.
It's I was talking to my friend Christopher the other day about trying to be appreciative of moments and like like lengthening a moment by acknowledging it, being present in it.
Mhm.
And I was like, when we were surfing, we were out on the water, and I would like laid my head down on the board and just was like, "You're here now. You're on this board. You're getting the surf. You're with your friend. Like, be here right now."
Good.
Right. And this is good. Like everything is good. You physically can do this. And then I was like, and now it's like 6 months later. And
I know.
I was like, it what? I was like, it feels like time travel. It's just gone like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Timmy, you'll get a kick out of this one. Uh, remember my father saying this to me. He said it a lot later on, but the first time, what had to be one of the first times he said it, he said he would always try to describe his paintings of things that he later in life, things that he did from memory, you know.
Yeah.
And then he said that one day, and he just kind of said, "It really makes me nervous saying that because I have the worst memory of anybody I know."
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was a funny thing to be worried about.
I have the worst memory of anyone
I
I
have a
know.
terrible memory. And,
Yeah.
as he got older, he couldn't remember anything. Uh, but
Yeah.
we're still good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming from your dad, that's pretty funny.
He could have used that, when people said, "Well, why don't you paint faces on people?" Because I can't remember what people look like. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's too much. So, Cassandra, you're using walnut ink tonight? Is that
So the underpainting was an acorn ink. That's more grayish, so it feels like it's almost like you're painting with graphite. And then the lines, the pen that I'm using now is walnut ink.
I gotcha. Um,
So,
Cassandra, I might be passing through your area at the end of October.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm tentatively, well, a little more than tentatively taking a road trip up to New York.
Oh, fun. Give me a holler when you shoot through Richmond.
I will, yeah. I don't know how much time I'll have because but I would love to say hello.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I gotta admit this, I never saw the Labyrinth either. Yeah, it falls into the category of Princess Bride for me.
Yeah, I get that. I can understand that.
Labyrinth predates Princess Bride though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the date
I
of it,
think-
but still 80s before you're born.
Yeah, it's got to be mid to late 80s.
Was it I mean, so it's Jim Henson, so it's like
Yeah.
pretty deeply respected amongst visual artists, got to be.
Well, doesn't that have Brian Froud designs in it? And
Hmm.
you
I know Ashley Lovett has done a lot of Labyrinth art. Some pretty beautiful stuff. And if you're wondering,
I've
Ashley,
never seen the whole movie. So
if you're wondering who
Oh,
Ashley,
this is of my childhood, so I saw the whole movie multiple times.
yeah.
so I was just saying, like Ashley Lovett's done a lot of the work. Ashley teaches ideation and visual storytelling at VAP. And I know Ashley's worked with the Jim Henson Company before.
She's so talented. She's fantastic.
Amazing.
That's
She's
cool.
also got a process course that we're going to be releasing really soon, which I'm very excited about. A little on demand tutorial that should be pretty awesome. She's going to kind of share how she's actually using a real assignment, so like a real client assignment, and how she goes from that first brief to the final delivery, which should be really awesome.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, kind of a cool little on-demand package. I think it'll probably be pretty affordable. It's gonna be very affordable, actually. I bet it'll be around sub $40, so should be great.
That's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Yep.
Very good.
Oh, John, that's looking great.
I know you got the drama of it all so good.
I love how you aged him in the whites. There's a way in which you added a certain edge to him. And that one kind of curved line on
Here.
the right side of his hair, that's very cool.
Yeah. I was going to try to do something that was similar on the other side.
Now there were other movies like kind of there's the Labyrinth, and then what are some other Jim
There was
Henson-
Black Crystal.
Black Crystal, that Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal, yes, sorry.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah,
More-
with
Yeah.
Gelflings.
I think it's so funny, like, because when I was, in like, I guess high school and college, there was like a whole like vampire phase of entertainment. And I love that in the 80s there was just this phase of like like disco glam fantasy.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Isn't that weird?
To me, that vampire thing hasn't quit yet. It's still
Oh, you think it's still
I think the
it's
vampire
80.
thing is a bleed into from the
The zombie.
disco goth kind of.
Yeah. Well, there's
Yeah.
a new isn't there a new interview with the vampire show on?
Yeah, yeah. I
But
watched.
I know what you mean, John. There's like a whole genre for it, but it's definitely like, I mean, Twilight was insane how much of the global eyeball it demanded.
what was the first? Was it True Blood? Was that
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Twilight was the vanguard of the. I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't something that was like ahead of the curve, but Twilight like was the tidal wave that
Yeah.
everybody was.
I thought it was a Vampire Lestat, the interview with the vampire that kind of came before that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it didn't
Oh, there was-
originate
there's been-
vampires.
Yeah, there's been so much stuff, but
Yeah, but I'm saying there was like a craze for it. Like
Yes.
there was like a media like a bump. There was a bump in the vampire stock
yeah.
in 2010. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're like, and then like, zombies had their bump, you know? Yeah.
The zombies.
Yeah.
That would be fun to see on the graph when certain monsters have their heyday and comebacks.
You know what? It'd be really easy to do with Google Trends.
Mm.
I'm gonna do that.
I think that's like a super fun trend to figure out because there was like the Mummy reboot with Brendan Fraser. That was 90s, right? Late 90s.
Yeah, the Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. I do Google Trends all the time. It's always really interesting to see, especially like certain things that like nobody talks about forever. And then have you guys ever messed around with Google Trends?
I haven't.
Okay. Oh, this might be a good one. Sorry, I'm being quiet because I gotta figure it out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is exactly what I thought it would be. It really peaked in 2009 as far as searchability. That was when it hit. And then this is probably I'm guessing 2012 is when the last of the Twilight series came out. And it's just been kind of on a steady decline, but now it's kind of having a little mini renaissance. Yeah, you can only go back to 2004. So, anyways,
That's a hoot.
yeah. But whenever legitimately, if I have any advice for like using Google Trends, if anybody ever tells you like something's really hot right now, or like if you want to see like what are people looking at, what are people actually searching, and is it trending down or up? It's pretty good to like get an eyeball on like growing trends in business or like in industry or just like public interest, which I don't know. Do you think an artist could would you guys, if you knew how to use a tool like that, would you use it as an artist, you think?
I don't know, honestly.
If you were like thinking about like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of niche.
Well, not necessarily like this sounds very random, but I had done a possum painting at a time when possums were really popular, so it sold really well as a card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Think about
But I didn't
What
look for the
animal
trend,
would
but I
look
stumbled
like
into
them?
the trend.
Like I guess like what you could do is like if you were thinking about like making trading cards, right? You could be like, are trading cards going up? Like, is there an interest in memorabilia and trading cards? Or is that on the decline? Right?
Yeah.
You know what you're
I
reminding me?
don't know. I
I
have no like,
watched
yeah.
recently. Have you seen the Beanie Baby movie? Like the
I'm
docudrama?
familiar with it. I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it.
I I watched it last week and it was fascinating.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a really interesting, like they did a good job of like telling a story and it's somewhat satirical, but also it feels like there were some moments that are probably pretty dot on.
Yeah. My wife was a Beanie Baby collector.
She should watch it. I'd be curious
I
to
mean,
know.
she was like 9, but
Age
the thing
appropriate for
that,
that.
the thing that blows my mind is like the full grown adults who were Beanie Baby collectors. Yeah.
Man,
Xander had a good
trying to
thought.
get Bill to back off, man.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the photo of it's a courtroom photo of it's a divorce court and they're splitting up the Beanie Babies in the middle of the courtroom.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. It's a wild photo. Hey, I don't
Xander
know.
had a good thought. Sanders said that he thought that that Beanie Baby movie was a good metaphor for the NFT craze.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, potentially. Yeah.
Something that's trendy that makes a lot of money real quick.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But yeah, I will go ahead and say this. I have a friend who bought a house in Sacramento. Houses in Sacramento are not cheap, and he bought it with NFTs. And so I'm not an NFT fan, but I don't know anybody who ever bought a house of Beanie Babies.
Oh no, they did. There was like
Is that really?
yeah, there was like I
Like
had like a
millions of
woman.
dollars they made, because when I talk about a house in Sacramento, I'm talking about millions of dollars.
She's like, oh yeah, last year I made, over $300,000 on this, and she started a magazine, and it became like her business.
Really? Like
Yeah.
selling, like were they part of the Beanie Baby company or
No.
they were collectors? Really?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
So far, I've been approached about doing NFTs, but every single one of them has been some kind of scam.
Yeah, they're
Oh
definitely
yeah.
scams. Definitely scams.
And it's every single, and
Those are no, they're not even, those are bots. Yeah.
yeah, but every single one of them is, my stance is this: if you want to pay me a fee to mint an NFT, I will do that. But I'm not going to go and mint it with the promise of it that it might sell.
Yeah.
That's foolish.
I would just tell anybody that if anybody's reaching out to you making an NFT, it's a scam.
Oh yeah. So it's
What are we talking about NFTs? What is it? 2021? What's going on?
I'm hip. I'm worth it.
What is it? What are we gonna get on what was the app that everybody was using to talk about NFTs? That there was the fastest at the time, it was the fastest growing app ever. Party or whatever, or
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you guys get on? I didn't even know. I only knew because you guys mentioned it. I'd never heard of
Oh
it.
yeah. Anytime you have to try it because we gotta stay on top of it.
Gotta be the hip kids.
You just gotta know. You don't have to adopt it, but you gotta know about it. So,
Just
John,
my,
you were a
just my
Clubhouse.
nature, Cassandra.
Huh?
Just my nature to just be all over technology all the time.
That's what I think of when I think of you, John. I just think, yeah, you are all about the technology and in the know.
I mean, the number one reason we would jump on it is you gotta get your handle. Like, you don't want somebody to grab your handle before
Yeah, I could see that.
like that's the biggest argument is like if there's any rumbling that it might catch on, you're like, well, I better grab my handle because somebody else is gonna get it.
Okay, so my question is, are people using Threads? I'm not on it, so I don't know.
No, it had a major drop off. The activity, I can look up the exact drop off. I should look it up, but it's it's not that it can't come back because other things have had major comebacks. Things have struggled for a long time, but its biggest thing is that it integrated with Instagram really well. So when you created your threads, you had to create it through an existing Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could not delete your thread account without deleting that Instagram account. So most people did not create a new Instagram account to open their threads. They just created it with their Instagram account. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, threads, people are not like deleting their threads account. They just are like, it's just inactive.
They just don't use it.
Yeah, but we go and like look, I've gone and looked and like it appears as though there is activity, but I'm trying to find the exact since July, more than 80% of the people who joined have stopped using it.
Interesting.
So that's pretty that's what you call in the biz, that's what you call plummet. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know. Twitter was really hurting at the time. You looking at it, and you're like, maybe
Oh, you mean X?
yeah, X,
Formerly known as Twitter?
I'm telling you, how long are they going to keep saying that? How long are they going to keep saying formerly known as Twitter? But Threads is really hard to use too. It's not searchable in a way that's user friendly. It doesn't compete well. So people didn't like it pretty quickly. Like that was the problem with it. I am not a Twitter user, but I'm pretty familiar with the platform. So just so anybody's wondering, I'm not like a Twitter guy. Like I'm not defending Twitter or X. I'm not an X-Man. Sandra, someone was asking, do you remember if there was a nut that you mentioned previously that like didn't work for your ink?
Oh, it wasn't another nut, it was pine needle. I tried pine needles. I heard you could potentially get a nice yellow out of it, but it didn't work for
Like,
me. So maybe I'll revisit
you're
it.
not you're not just trying to distill everything into
Just throwing it in a pot. Yeah.
that's
No,
like a SNL skit where it's like mom's trying to make everything into ink.
yeah. I was even looking at making your own charcoal. So that could happen one day. We'll see what happens. My
Yeah,
neighbor has a willow tree. I don't know if that willow is the willow that works for it, but we'll see.
cool.
Apparently, you throw it like in a little Altoids tin and you put it under the fire and then just have a fire and you can have nice charcoal that way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we'll see if I try that sometime. Um, then
That's how I do it, Cassandra.
Everybody, the buzzer went off for the second one, so we're moving on to our third and final. So you can choose one of the two. You could do both of them, but either way, there's a longer pose, goes on about 40 plus minutes. Please post your work using hashtag Bowie Hive and hashtag Drawing Hive and at Visual Arts Passage. Yeah.
I can say letting my ink sit, like, I mean, I use it still, but it's from 2 years ago and it's only gotten better. It never molded or anything. Now it's like really thick and dark.
That's cool.
So that's exciting.
It's aging beautifully.
Yes. Got good patina now. I think I'm gonna try Toby. I think I can't resist first baby. John, that looks fantastic.
Now,
Thanks for saying so. I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep
Oh,
working.
that's cool. Look at that. That's awesome.
do you all have a favorite era of David Bowie, or do you follow him pretty closely? Because you saw the whole
Saw the whole thing. I did.
yeah, you saw the whole thing.
I certainly did. Was
I'm
a
a
big-
child of the 80s, so for me, it's Labyrinth Bowie.
Yeah.
Well, if I always say this, if I had to pick, which I don't like doing, like my favorite songs of all time, I guess you think about those things. I have that conversation with my kids a lot
Yeah.
about songs that we like a lot.
You got to have the boss on yours, right?
I do, but Young American is right at the top on mine.
Great one.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's one of the most, at the time, was so progressive and so just so different and interesting. That whole, I love the changes period. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I like
I always loved Golden Years.
Yes.
When I was in high school, there was like it's funny. I saw a thing, Cassandra, you'll appreciate this. I saw a meme that was when I was growing up, if you wore a long sleeve under a short sleeve button up, it meant you liked music. And it's legit true. It really is. But it used to be bigger than fashion. It was a message. But I was thinking about how like there was a culture in like, I mean, so this would have been early 2000s of like everybody was like all the popular music we were all listening to. There was a lot of contemporary stuff. It's like the height of the Killers and stuff like the White Stripes and stuff like that. But a lot of music was like people being like, I found this record of David Bowie, or like getting like revisiting the past.
Mm.
I grew up with a lot of classic rock, a lot of classic hip hop too. And I just wonder, like, now that it's even easier to find old stuff, I don't know. Like,
Well,
what's the Gen Z?
I'm gonna really date myself, but Changes came out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Was that just like a mind blowing song though? I mean, that
Oh,
would have been so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this is we talk about like the remember wins, but there's something I like about the fact that I grew up, that I grew up at the tail end of sitting in a car and playing the radio until you heard a song you liked.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like you
Making a
wanted to hear.
mixtape. Did you make
Yeah,
mixtapes from the radio? Because that's like a whole nother level, and I
I
did.
did that, but like I remember being like, I want to hear closing time, the song
Yeah.
closing time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the name of the band. I just knew I want to hear the song called Closing Time. And if I listen to the radio for 30 minutes, I'll hear it. Yeah. And it was so exciting when it came on somewhere. But yeah.
Did you ever listen to Heavyweights, that podcast?
Oh, I haven't, but it's on my list.
So there is an episode where this guy is like, Moby took my album, that like something he listened to, and then made a whole album because he listened to it. So that album is because of me. And it's a hilarious episode about this guy who was friends with Moby, and just like he let him borrow this album he really liked, and then Moby sampled from it a ton for his biggest album ever, but he never got it back, and then Moby never talked to him. So it was all about them trying to hunt down Moby and talk to him about it. It was a great episode.
Really? Does it make you not like Moby?
No, it doesn't. It's like
Really?
it's not bad either way. It's like it's a really interesting conversation. I like, you just got to listen to it. It was fascinating.
Yeah. I
Timmy,
might listen to that. That's cool.
Timmy, have you listened to you have to listen to the whole thing with Dustin DeArnold that I did the other day.
Oh yeah.
He did a bunch of he did these sketches from concerts he went to.
Oh, cool.
And so what is the band that Big Mike is in?
Run the Jewels? You talking
The
about?
Jewels. Yeah, Run the Jewels, right?
Yeah.
And so since we drew
Yeah, it's Killer Mike, by the way.
Killer Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. And I think I got it correct that
I feel really cool for being able to decrypt that, but
so he was this work was going by and we were discussing. I said, hey, what's all this stuff? And he says, well, he was saying, I go to these concerts and I draw when I'm at the concerts. And I said, well, that's Killer Mike.
yeah.
And he goes, you don't know that, do you? And
Oh, did that blow his mind?
I might have said Big Mike, actually. I'm gonna
Oh, yeah, he was like,
I
"Oh,
got
you
it
know,
wrong,
Mike."
but I got it close enough that he knew that I had an idea of what I was talking about. And I said we've drawn them on Drawing Hive.
To be honest, because Run the Jewels has such a strong following, if somebody who I thought was more entrenched in the community said that, they said Big Mike, I'd be like, oh, they're just a bigger fan. And I guess maybe that's what like really tight fans call him, like yeah, I'd be like, I just don't know the deal there. That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah. Just play it. You should have played it off. You'd be like, huge Run the Jewels fan.
Yeah.
I am a big Run the Jewels fan, actually. But yeah. Yeah, that's funny. That you probably knew that from, didn't we drew him from Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
It's one of those things, that's like the life of the illustrator. You learn a lot. You learn a little about a lot of things because you end up drawing so many topics. And I just think it's kind of that, it's been that way, certainly during my illustration world. you got to research and listen and be part of, pay attention to what's going on in the world. I don't do that near as much. I don't have to as I used to, but talk to Dale Stefanos. He knows everything that's going on. It's
He
because
does. He stays
because
keyed into it.
he has to. Part of it, as an illustrator, you're a visual problem solver, and being connected is being aware of what's going on around you is super important.
Yeah.
Especially, somebody that does editorial work like that, because you're constantly working on contemporary stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, yeah, that would feel overwhelming at times.
Well, it was narrow focus, it's like, in a way, when
Oh yeah,
you're sort of focused on the things that are in your milieu. I'm pronouncing that right. Like I knew a lot about I knew a lot about like the Washington killer and inner city hospitals and
things
I
you
thought
had.
you were gonna start listing off killers.
well, just like police killings and things like that. And
Oh, it's because it's because what you were reporting on in a way.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, some of it got to be kind of like dark and morbid and kind
Yeah.
of
You're like, maybe I don't need to tap that deep.
um but then there's certain things that I became really curious about
Yeah.
that weren't big that weren't big stories,
Yeah.
because they were things that I wanted to make pictures about,
Uh-huh.
so
Do you feel like you can, this is the interesting because we're talking about like reading the news and stuff, and not necessarily the news, but just being entrenching yourself in culture or whatever the zeitgeist is, or following the pulse, right?
yeah.
And I think now more than ever, because it's funny because I was talking to a comedian, I saw a bunch of comedians. I got to see Salcus last week actually. I saw a bunch of comedians with him, and I was talking with one of them because part of his bit is at the end of it, he'll be like, toss something out, some news, and he'll do like crowd work off of it. Like he'll just talk about anything people bring up. It's wild. And he quoted another comic. This is an old joke. And I was thinking about it like you guys as artists, like having to learn about a lot of stuff. And I was thinking what's exhausting is this idea that you have to have an opinion about a new thing you learned. And the comedian he quoted was, he goes, when I grew up, most people had like 5 opinions. And if you had 8 opinions, it meant you were opinionated. I thought it was so great. I don't know the comic that said it.
I was going to say, who was the comedian?
I don't know, but it was so funny. And I was thinking about that because, like, even with this show, like, are doing Drawing Hive, like, something comes up and, like, we want to talk, like, we want to, like, not have dead air. And so you're often like, do I actually have an opinion on that? Like, you try to be honest with yourself. Because sometimes if I'm really honest with myself, I'm like, yeah, I don't have an opinion on that. But that's even hard to navigate. And this is the very long way of asking this question. Do you feel it's hard to create an image without having an opinion or taking like building that perspective or that stance?
I think it's better that you do have one.
Okay.
Yes.
Or that at the very least, you're educated on the topic.
You understand the topic, yeah.
Yeah.
But who was it? I won't be able to name the artist who said this. It's probably Manet or Matisse or Monet or somebody that said, you can't, if you hadn't experienced eating an orange, it would be very difficult to properly paint one. And that's exactly, the contemporary illustrator. If they don't understand what they're illustrating, they're not going to be very effective with their work. I, being around a lot of illustrators most of my life, very aware group of people. As far as paying attention to pop culture, usually have a good understanding, or they're fairly well read, understand certain parts of history well, just because they've probably had to research it.
Yeah. I remember a thing my dad used to tell me, which was like when you are looking into something new, and I gravitate towards, I try not to, but I'll gravitate towards thinking, okay, I get this. I think I understand this, and coming to kind of a personal conclusion on it. And he would always go like, imagine if it's possible you're completely wrong though, which is such a silly thing. It's so simple, but just like take a moment to be like, what would it mean if I'm completely wrong?
Ah, that's good.
I like it a lot. John, I don't do it often with you, so sorry. John's probably like, it'd be nice if you did that sometime.
I'm thinking that is something you really ought to double down on, Timmy.
You gotta cultivate that a little more, you know.
It's very difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. My dad never did it. my dad was the biggest perpetrator of it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes understanding for me at least, understanding a topic to a certain degree, even if I didn't have an opinion on it, the more I understood it, the better the images came out.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I could find things that were really obscure, and those would be fodder for like interesting images, you know. And so it was like, I may not necessarily know exactly what I think of this subject, but I can take on a point of view,
Right.
and illustrate it from that point of view if I can understand. And a lot of it, you know, was like understanding the author's point of view too.
Yeah.
You know, like, so Hurricane Katrina, right? That was a story with a lot of many things going on, right? Did you know that Harry Connick Jr. went out and saved somebody? Like, basically like waded out into the water, I think, if I'm remembering this right, and like saved somebody's life, you know. And it wasn't very hugely publicized, from what I remember. But what knowing that did, or reading that story did, was it gave me a way to illustrate a piece about Hurricane Katrina in a very unique way. And so I did Harry Connick Jr. You can barely tell it's him, but I did him sort of as a Superman figure. And that's got nothing necessarily at all to do with Hurricane Katrina. It's just a story that happened as a result.
Yeah.
But it was I thought it was a very unique part of that story, or very specific part of that story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, based on what you all were saying though, it goes to say, and you kind of were already saying this, John, is just that the more life experiences you have, the more well-rounded you are as a person, like maybe the broader you can go with your art.
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all, doing something like what Bill was suggesting, doing something that's unique and personal to you, and how you would tell the story, and how you would solve the problem. Creating that, a lot of that is learning how to use yourself as a library to let something unique happen. To do that, you got to have some a pretty deep well of information to pull from.
Yeah.
And so not just researching, but, knowing a little bit about literature and history and everything that you can develop, I've always thought that a liberal arts education is really a valuable thing for an illustrator as a visual problem solver. And it's not all just drawing and painting. It's, you're a visual communicator. And so I think it's very helpful, but the personal aspect of it is, again, and I don't want to go on too long about this, but the act of using yourself as a library, drawing from memory, not being influenced by somebody else, is a big part of developing personal voice as an artist.
Yeah.
But it requires that you got to have something to pull from. You can't just go to an empty well and expect a good idea to come up. I don't know if that helped you at all, Timmy, but
No, it's interesting because I just think about, so are there things that where you're disconnected from it enough that you have felt like that's not a good fit for me? Or
oh yeah, I mean there's
there's
subjects.
a limit, there is a limit to how much you can kind of envelop yourself in certain things.
Yeah, I mean there's things that there's appropriate artists to do certain assignments. I mean, there's people that just are better equipped to do certain assignments.
Or they've had like the right life experience for it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was leaning towards, not just like a style or something like that, but just like they just have a personal connection to it in a way that is difficult to maybe fabricate or create through research.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, I think having a point of view is more interesting than having a style.
Sure.
Style's kind of a,
Well, they can intersect, and they usually somebody that has a point of view has a visual. There's a cognitive side to it, and then there's a visual side to it, and you have to address both. I love the fact, like in our students that are in our later classes, in our portfolio classes, and our career development classes, that's what they're chasing. They're chasing not just a visual look, but an aesthetic. They're also chasing a way that they're going to problem solve, a cognitive way to problem solve. So you do a lot of process work where you're chasing idea, and you do a lot of experimental work where you're using materials you've never tried. You're just trying to come up with a visual, something that works for the way that you visually, for the way you want to problem solve. You got to go after both. Right, Cassandra?
Yeah. Exactly.
I revisited some of the, oh, that was great, Cassandra.
It's got a ways to go, but thank you.
I mean, I revisited a couple of old illustration assignments, just doing new sketches for them recently, just to see how would I approach this now. And the differences are, I can still paint the same way I painted, but the main differences are, what I'm choosing to show and what I'm not, what I'm choosing not to show. And I think the pictures are more nuanced now.
I can't stand visiting things I've done.
Really?
Well, some paintings, but illustration stuff that I've done, I can't stand going back. I look at it, most of the stuff I look at it, because I quit doing it when I was early 30s, mid 30s.
Yeah.
And I've changed a lot since then. But sometimes I can't even figure out how I did it. I'm like, how did I have that much patience at that time to do it? I just don't have the patience to do it now.
Oh no, I hear that, and that's definitely true. But I think that there's a couple of editorial pieces that I did that I wish I had had another stab at now.
Everything I've ever done, I wish I had another stab at.
Well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. But how I would show it now, I would show a lot less than if I, what I could get away with, showing less and less iconic and less symbolic and maybe more pictorial or, representational, but subtler. Is that more subtle, if that makes sense?
No, we've all learned that, just part of maturing as an artist, that you can over time say more with a lot less. And
Yeah. Yeah, and
be more impactful.
yeah, and I mean, I think I tended towards allegory and symbolism more than I would now, probably. But that's also life experience.
Well, there's that thing about, as an artist experiencing things, where Timmy started this conversation, it's really an important thing. I don't think, I just wonder how much different my landscape work would look if I didn't actually if I didn't go to the place that I painted, if I was working from somebody else's photography.
Mm.
The experience of being there meant a lot to me. And
And you reacting to what you're seeing in person and then later painting it too.
Yeah, I mean, and again, most of the time, obviously, if I come back to the studio, I may have done something on site. Not very often do I do that, but the fact that I was there and shot a picture and maybe did some sketches or something, that experience is really important to me. And I know it would be a lot different if I was just looking at it visually without an emotional connection to it. Because I've had so much fun, climbing around mountains and fields and hillsides and stuff to get to create some of the imagery that I create.
Part of the process.
That's a big part of the process.
We've just been talking about experience and stuff, and I'm feeling kind of woo-woo with this question. This is kind of a woo-woo question, but you all have had pretty full careers, and I'm sure that there were chapters in your life where you were trying to build up the career. I think oftentimes, like, the experience of being young, you're imagining how happy you'll be once you have what you wanted, and so when you look back at your journey as an artist, do you look back at the times before maybe you had those accomplishments? How do those rank as your overall, do you look at those as higher moments or more, do you look at them more fondly than the best, when you were getting all the work you wanted and things like that? Or I don't know, does that make sense?
I rephrase that. I'm not sure.
Let me try again. So there's the journey to becoming an artist where you didn't have what you wanted, but you were working to get what you thought would make you happy, or what you needed to fulfill your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, for me personally, I'm always setting goals of what I want to achieve and stuff. But then if you were to check in with me any year and say, could you rewind your youth a year ago? Could you have back what you had a year ago? I'd be like, oh, 100%. Well, you'll have to give up everything you gained this year. I'd be like, give it to me. I'd be like, because I look back on things with so much nostalgia, and I just think oh, I should have appreciated that time more. Even though I supposedly thought I didn't have what I wanted or the achievements or things like that.
Cassandra, you're being really quiet. Why don't you address
Well,
that?
I guess the question is, are you wondering, with bigger achievements, do you appreciate them as much as maybe ones that would be later conceived smaller but were big in the moment? Is that what you're saying?
I guess, do you appreciate the journey more than the achievement?
Oh, hands down, yes. For me,
Yeah.
it's definitely the journey. Like, you know, I can see moments where something's happening and then I can look back and be like, that was you know, that small moment was actually a defining moment. I think some of it I'm really good about appreciating it. And then sometimes when it's a really big moment, with that big moment is a lot of pressure. So it's hard to celebrate it because I'm busy trying to make sure I don't mess it up. But later I'll be very excited I had that chance.
Yeah, because you do tons of shows too, so there's this constant like build up.
Yeah, like Modern Eden, who I'm very comfortable working with. The first show I got into a few years back was a portrait show, and I was showing with so many renowned portrait artists, and they're all painting like humans, and I got in for my animals, and I get to paint my animals in my style,
That's so
doing a
cool.
portrait, and I psyched myself out. I had a really great drawings. I had everything set up, but because I was so in my head, I failed on that piece. I spent 3 weeks on a piece that didn't work. And then I ended up having to just basically not sleep and churn out a different piece in 3 days to make it in time. And it went great. It sold, it did well.
Oh,
I
awesome.
got kind of freaked out by the potential of getting to work with them meant. And then now I'm super comfortable with them and they're really open to me sending, you know, whatever idea I have for shows. So it like I'm so much more relaxed with them. But yeah, I think it's hard sometimes to celebrate the moment when a lot of pressure is with it, but later it is also really great to look back and be like, that's so cool, I got to do that. If that answers your question, I don't know.
It does. It answers my stupid question.
It wasn't a stupid question. I just
No,
wanted
I
to make
was
sure
I was
addressing it.
really like limping to the actual question, so I appreciate it. It was that for whatever reason I really struggled spitting that one out. Yeah, I don't know. I think about that a lot now. So
That's
Um,
good. You're working on enjoying the moment, being in the moment. I think that's always important. There's other times where I've had a moment and I definitely know to celebrate it. And it is really exciting and wonderful. And I'm so fond of those. I think it's a mixed bag of the ones that you get to celebrate in the moment and the others that you're like, this is really awesome. And I'm really overwhelmed by now what that means, like what I got to do.
yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. Yeah. Bill, that's looking awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you know, it's funny, it's like, thank you. There's not just the way I see and the way I draw. There's so much stuff in this guy's face that I tried to, there are artists that are spectacular, like drawing that particular wrinkle in that particular spot and nailing it. And I'm just trying to get an overall feeling for what is this guy about. And you know, and that involves letting go of trying to do things a certain way and just sort of exploring and appreciating the marks that, you know, what I've got down and what I'm making and, you know, trying to, I think you work with your limitations, you know, and I know what my limitations are to some extent.
Well, you laid down the perfect texture to get kind of this skin texture because he's so craggly.
You know, he's awesomely craggly, and
I can't see anymore.
yeah, that's that you know, yeah. And I'm drawing without my glasses on too, which is always a challenge, but
See what that looks like on screen. That looks okay. I don't know. It's got this really funny spot there that it doesn't look that way in person.
oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Weird.
So Cassandra, I delivered my painting, my Gamvar
Oh, and how'd it go?
Well, so in fact, I called my gallery owner. And after I delivered it, Eva, and asked, I said, what did they, I wanted to know, and all she said was all's good. And so I guess it's okay.
You have this build up
It's
and
like,
you like sweated over it and they're like, yeah, that works.
literally, it was like what happened was they damaged a piece. It got scratched. And when they were hanging it, and it was a pretty good sized painting.
Ugh,
And
such
so,
a beautiful
and
painting.
so I had used the first time on a big painting, I used this varnish that Cassandra had suggested. And it scratched I had to take all the varnish off of it, Scamvar. And it was just like a sticky mess taking this stuff off. And it took up, I'd used some paint sticks and some crayons in the painting. And so it took up some of the material, and I had to go back in and repaint a large part of it. It took me almost 2 days to fix it. And so I wanted to hear what they said, and she goes, oh, I guess it, they didn't say anything. It's like, God. I did suggest to the gallery owner, she's like, well, should we, what should I tell them? I said, well, I said, tell them they need to buy another painting. And she said, well, they are. And I said, well, I said, yeah, but from me, not from somebody else in the gallery.
Right.
Yeah, they were buying other paintings to go in their house. And I said, no, it needs to be from me to make up for the probably 12 or 13 hours I spent fixing this thing.
But they paid for your time, right?
No, I didn't charge them anything.
Oh, you're nice.
I just did it. I think they thought it was just because it was just a little tiny scratch. It started that way, but I couldn't, it cut into the varnish and I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't make it look like the rest of the piece. I had to take the varnish off and repaint it.
Oh, man.
It was a pain in the butt, and the thing, I think I sent this to Cassandra. It looked great when I
It
took.
looked awesome. It really did.
I liked it better when I took the varnish off because it pulled up some things and it made it really crusty and crude. And yeah, I took a shot of it like that, and I really liked it a lot. And I said, that's what I've been trying to do by working this way. And so now I know how to do it. I just got to
Yeah,
use.
you just need to varnish and take the varnish off.
I just want to chime in really quick. We're getting close to the end of the hour, so and as you all know, there's a bit of a delay on the new gram. So please use hashtag Bowie Hive and hashtag Drawing Hive and share your work with us. We're gonna open up Instagram in a little bit, but if you want to make sure your art is included, do it now. Don't wait till the end of the end of this post.
Well, my drawing's pretty crude, but I like the value structure, the design of it, the hair and the shirt and the flesh, all
So great.
light. I think it looks good.
Cool.
Pretty crude piece, but it's kind of fun. No, I'm too tired to work on it anymore.
So this was pretty exciting. I saw a comic last week and he went on stage and his zipper was down.
Did he know?
No, it was so bad.
Did anybody tell him?
Yeah. Immediately somebody heckled him. It was brutal.
Oh,
It was brutal. It was one of the worst ways to start your set. It was so bad.
or maybe it kicks off a great conversation. I don't know.
It didn't, Cassandra. It did not. If you're ever going to go up in front of a room full of people, I have now learned step one is make sure your fly is up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah.
How long did he have to stay up there after the
Oh,
zipper?
he had a solid 25. It was brutal.
Hard.
It was he was
So
actually really good. He was a really good he writes for well, he wrote for the Jimmy Fallon show. I guess he's probably going back to work, but yeah, he was a very good comic.
Was he
But
able to recover from the moment?
he did. He had a rough audience, and the fly down doesn't help much.
It's like playing the wrong note. You gotta roll with it, but it's hard to do. And
Yeah. Also, that throws you off. And that's talk about. I mean, yeah, you have your fear. The worst thing you can do is get scared. In
Yeah.
in most situations, you know.
if
I mean,
there's
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be scared, but yeah, acting out of fear often doesn't result in the best performance, from what I've learned. You know.
but there's comedians that would play that off and go,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He ain't one of them, but
Unfortunately.
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't be one of them either. I would just
Oh,
like
I would have
stew on
left.
it for the rest of
I
the.
would have quit. I'd have been like, all right, thank you everybody, and drive home safe.
I would
Tip
do
your
an
waiter.
awkward shuffle off the stage.
Yeah,
Don't forget to tip your waiters, folks.
but yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. I've thought about that all day because he like powered through it, but like this idea of performing under fear and being calm, or like, I don't know, it applies to anything.
Yeah.
You can relax, chill out, get your bearings, then you're probably going to do better, right?
Yeah.
At whatever it,
Yeah, I would think so.
at what you guys, I mean, like, I don't know. Are you able to work, but because there's also, there's the whiplash, the drummer, like there is like the people, like the brilliance that happens under pressure, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a person that performs well under that type of pressure.
Well, I love deadlines. Like I love to have set
Yeah.
deadlines for me. So I think the pressure of that I do well. I get really great with time management. So I think it depends on what kind of pressure it is. If
Right.
it's like pressure because I failed at something and then I need to succeed, well then I'm not as like chill with that.
Yeah.
Like your drawing, Bill.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
I love yours. I love the baby Cassandra's doing too.
It's
Yeah, well-
looking like a creepy doll baby right
It
now.
doesn't look like a doll, but it's very cool.
Does look.
Like it's a
Yeah.
haunted doll right now.
Gianna's family bought her like more than one American Girl doll when she was a kid.
Hmm.
They're so creepy.
Oh, I definitely had some.
Yeah.
Oh, there's way creepier dolls. You know what I had when I was
Oh
a
yeah.
kid? A cricket. And cricket was like the girl doll version of a Teddy Ruxpin. But imagine like a girl robot with blonde pigtails and a leisure suit that tells you stories and blinks slowly.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, see if you can find a cricket. Look it up. You're gonna be like, oh my
Cricket
gosh,
doll?
it's a thing of nightmares. But I thought it was really cool as a kid.
I don't think I would ever want, as a child or as an adult, a doll that could make noise. Just, that's too creepy to me. You know,
You never had a Furby.
That's a funny thing for a.
Thank you, Xander. Thank you for that.
That's a funny thing for you to say.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Talking about the dolls you wouldn't want.
That's right. Well, do you ever see the movie Magic with about the ventriloquist puppet, and it's Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah.
The commercials to that just freaked me out.
I'll tell you a funny. Do you remember the illustrator Eric Dinier?
Yeah.
You and I, same age. Our wives both worked at Hallmark together, and we for 1 year we crossed over. We taught at the Kansas City Art Institute together, and we had kids that were in school together too. They're the same age, and he came in one day and he goes, "You're not gonna. I got to tell you this story. It just freaked us out." And a friend of his played a joke on him and left because he was talking about how much he disliked the character Barney. And so he left this 4 foot tall stuffed Barney animal on his porch one night. Like, in a rocking chair.
Oh my gosh.
And Eric, he just was that character. He just said it just drove him nuts. He didn't want to have it in his house, but his kids saw it and just like fell in love with it. And so like 4 or 5 days later, he just took it up and put it into the kid's room and his son's room. And they didn't think anything of it. But then like a week later, he woke up in the middle of the night and he heard somebody talking. And it was Barney. He didn't know that it spoke.
My God, that would be terrifying.
It totally flipped him out. He said,
Oh my God.
I thought that's a funny interaction to have.
We had a life-size cardboard cutout of Larry Bird, the NBA player.
That's a big cutout.
Yeah, it is, right? And we would hide it around the house. So when you would open a door, Larry Bird would just be staring at you. And that was like the door to a bedroom. You'd open the bedroom door and Larry Bird's just right there.
That's
Oh
funny.
gosh.
My dad would you'd hear him yell through the whole house. Yeah. Well, we're gonna go over to Instagram. We're there already, but
Oh my gosh, I knew this was gonna be awesome.
we're gonna start in a
It's gonna
minute.
be fun.
Yeah, I can see pretty awesome stuff already.
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
Some hits.
No kidding.
I might go back. I want to do the Jennifer Conway.
I had no idea that was Jennifer.
I almost did that one, but I thought it would be easier to draw this ugly mask.
I couldn't decide. Honestly, I loved all the reference, but I was only getting to 2 tonight.
That top left post, is that a different reference? It's got to be.
Yes.
You just picked something else. Too good for drawing Hive reference, huh?
Didn't like my choice, huh?
Huh.
That's a nice piece though.
Yeah.
We're teasing. It's a nice piece.
Yeah. We're just teasing. All right, let's get going. Now that Xander's at the top.
Xander, I love how you handled his hair.
Yeah, that's fun.
break that hair down into 3 values. Awesome.
I like choosing my own references. That's what they said. That's okay. That's good. All right.
Oh, wow. That's great. Great job.
Cool. The hair is
Nice.
be fun.
I love it when they get the eyebrows right, especially. Oh, beautiful job. Just
Nice.
beautiful.
Love it.
Wow.
Wow.
Peter, good job,
Love
man.
it, Peter.
Awesome.
Really did a great job with the value structure on that. That's what I loved about it.
Mhm.
Well done, man.
Love it.
Oh, I love that. I love the blue eyeshadow. You're right. He had that on that whole movie.
That's great.
Oh, lovely. That's
Goofy.
just lovely. I love how selective you were on that too.
Cassandra, this is before, man, I can only imagine the prom dresses in 1986 after this movie.
Oh, it had to be all puffs.
Yeah, it was all poofy
Yes,
shoulders.
Marcy.
That's so awesome.
Love it. Ooh, that's
Look at that.
cool.
Nice.
Nice. Ah, Jeff, really cool piece.
Again, Jeff.
Gary Davis, Jeff. Gary Davis.
Funny.
Cool, Nicole.
Oh.
Wow, Gary,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
Well done.
Well, that's beautiful too.
Oh,
Hey.
that's beautiful. Oh,
Chuck.
cool. Way to do a double page spread, Chuck.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right way to take a very vertical piece and make it a double spread. I like it. Nice, Gary.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
I love
Give it-
this.
give it
Oh,
a-
that is excellent.
Love, love, love.
It's awesome.
Beautiful.
That
done.
is-
Oh, that's fantastic. Cool signature too.
Nice.
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 Great job.
That's great.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
Look at
really
that.
well done.
That's
Really
wild.
well done.
Oh, that's.
Yes,
It's that signature cheeks.
I love it.
Oh, cool.
That's so
That's nice.
great.
Oh,
Fantastic job.
oh,
I also loved looking at the piece above and seeing the peak of hair and just
You
what
could
that
see
was
it
turned out
coming.
to be.
Yeah,
That's
So
fun.
great. Nice.
cool.
Good job.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's great.
That's
Love
good.
it. Good profile.
Oh,
I
really?
love
Oh,
how you handled the nose. It's just lovely.
that's a really nice head.
Mm-hmm. Great job. Very delicate.
Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Really cool.
Very
Nice,
cool.
Karen.
Here you go, Karen.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dang, Devin. That's awesome.
Very cool.
That's cool.
That's so
Well
fun,
done.
Nicole. Really great job. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, Jeff. Nice.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, that is cool.
Really
uh-huh.
great.
That is really cool. I like that.
Oh, that is lovely.
That's creepy looking too.
Yeah,
I
kind
love
of
it.
creepy, right?
Beautiful, but oh wow,
Nice.
Nice.
Beautiful job.
nice one.
Nice.
Love it. Oh,
Oh,
cool.
that's so rad.
Dang, that's awesome.
AJ, so cool.
God,
So
that's
cool.
Love it.
Oh, that's fun.
really
Great. Nice.
Those
See,
teeth.
everybody's got the teeth right.
Yeah, the teeth.
I'm telling you, you can't find a picture of her with her mouth shut.
Yeah. It's probably because
Actually, I did find one, a really cool one with her hands like she's in between a tree,
yeah.
and it just had like this spotlight. It was really beautiful. It was in black and white. It was my second choice. I probably should have posted that, but this one was gorgeous.
Yeah, you would have used
Oh,
it
nice.
like a Top Gun photo.
Yeah.
It's the same deal.
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Really interesting.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
Nice.
lovely. Yes.
Wow.
Another one that I got excited about the top of the hair. Nice, Rebecca.
That's awesome.
Good drawing.
Oh, that's
That's awesome.
fantastic.
So
Yes,
awesome.
Felicity.
Oh my
That
god.
Felicity?
So, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Go scroll back up. Go up one too. Go back. You know,
Yeah.
that is an amazing drawing. I mean, it's so interesting how I mean, it's really great. And then you flip to Felicity.
Oh,
Oh, great.
It has its greatness in just different direction.
Y'all
One-
should just frame these ones together. This
Yeah,
would be great in the
absolutely.
bathroom and have the
Sure.
baby stare at you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares.
It's like something to hang over your bed.
Yeah, both ways. Yeah.
That's a nice drawing.
Oh, wow. I love how you handled that. It's almost like a stained glass.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Very well done. Nice constructive feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Awesome. Great job.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, love it.
You know, doing oh, by the way, I didn't mention we had our I talked about it, but we didn't really like promote it or anything, was the talk I did for Monday night with
Yeah.
Dustin Deer and all.
Yeah, scope that out if you're looking for a good talk on
Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch that yet.
it's a good one. I've listened to the first half. It's great. And then yeah, before I forget, enrollment ends next week, October 6th is your last day. Illustration program, the fine arts program, and then character design. If you're serious about art as a career and you're at a stage where you're struggling at all, like this is a powerful resource, pretty much whether you're just getting started or even if you've already kind of honed your craft, like this is your compass to figuring that out. So don't sleep on it. These classes start in 8 days. So save your spot.
Well, I was going to mention what I was going to mention about Dustin's talk. He's a great drawer, and oh, that's nice.
I love
Very, but it's very expressive in the way he draws. And
Good
I did that for Monday night, and then I did another one that's going to come out next week. That's with Bill Carmen.
Oh, I love his art so much.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Just
I love his work so much.
Love this stuff, by the way. Yeah. It's
Oh,
great.
that's great job. Oh my goodness.
oh, look at that.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Tyler, that's amazing.
That is just beautiful. Your color. Love it. Yes.
Baby nightmares.
I love it. I love all our babies. I'm still gonna stay and do stripes. I gotta get my stripes in.
I'm gonna end up at my brother's house and my nephew's just gonna be staring at me like that. He's gonna haunt me.
Sally, I love this.
Hey, way to go, Sally.
It's awesome.
Great job. Good texturing. Nice.
Love it.
Love
Wow.
me some Bowie always. Great job.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh,
I think everybody posted tonight.
Wow.
yeah, and I love it. Thank you for that. This is my favorite
Yeah.
part.
Love it.
Great job. Oh,
That's
That's
great
cool.
caricature. Nice
Really good character.
simplification.
great job.
Love it.
Yes. Yay, Toby. Great
All right,
job.
that's it. Hey,
All right,
everybody.
everybody. Hey,
That
don't
was so
forget,
much fun.
as what Timmy was saying, we're still enrolling. Cassandra and Bill, thank you so much for drawing with us tonight. And everybody have a great week.
Have a great
See
week.
y'all later. All right. Bye.